Does your pre-workout supplement and contain higenamine? Hey, I'm Joe Cannon from supplementclarity.com. Today I want to talk about higenamine, which is an ingredient you may start seeing in some of the products you are taking. Maybe it's already there. Go check and look, but come back and listen to the rest of this. So in this higenamine review, I want to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but specifically let's start out by covering what the heck is it? Well, higenamine is an extract that is found in various plants. Sometimes it is listed on supplement labels as lotus seed extract, but it's a stimulant. And it is often found in exercise supplements like pre-workout supplements, and perhaps even weight loss supplements may contain it as well. How is it supposed to work? Well, if we talk about the exercise aspect, well, we know that higenamine increases heart contractility. It seems to help the left ventricle of the heart muscle of our heart contract more forcefully, pumping more blood. And it may also impact the electrical signals that go to the heart as well. So that's one way it seems to work. The other way is it acts as a bronchodilator, and that is it acts on the bronchioles of our lungs, allowing them to open up and allow more air to get into our lungs. More air in our lungs means more air in our bloodstream. You combine that with better heart pumping ability, that means more blood delivered to exercising muscles, faster recovery from waste buildup in our blood, like carbon dioxide and stuff like that. The end result is you might be faster, bigger, stronger, etc. This is because it's a bronchial dilator. It's also sometimes called a beta-2 agonist, and this is a class of medications that you may see asthmatics taking, because beta-2 agonist drugs also open up the bronchioles of the lungs and allow asthma to get better. So you'll sometimes see people puffing on inhalers that contain those type of medications. It may have some other effects as well, which we'll touch on in this video as well. For instance, I want to hit the exercise research, the weight loss research, and that's what most people are interested in the most. But I also want to touch on some other things: diabetes, arthritis, erectile dysfunction, and perhaps even spinal cord research, and then also touch on some of the side effects as well. All right, so let's delve right into the exercise research. So here's a study that involved 16 people. These researchers gave, and these were men and women, the researchers gave them a combination of higenamine, caffeine, and yohimbe, and they noted that this combination increased the release of fatty acids, fats, into the bloodstream. And so sometimes this study is used as proof that higenamine is of use to exercising individuals, because it releases fats in the blood, and you might be better at burning fat, and you wouldn't have to burn carbs as much, and this maybe in theory make you a better marathon runner, for instance, because you can last longer during long endurance events. Problems with this particular investigation is it didn't involve exercise at all. They just basically gave people at rest these compounds. They let them say, go about your day and come back periodically and we'll test you. And then it was also a combination of these three ingredients. So what released those fatty acids? Was it higenamine, caffeine, yohimbe, or all three? Well, I know caffeine is going to release fatty acids into the bloodstream. As for higenamine and yohimbe, do they add anything to that? It's possible they might. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, because I couldn't find any specific exercise research. No one's taken anybody into the gym, given them higenamine or a placebo, for several weeks, and let's see if after that time period they're bigger, stronger, faster, can lift more weight. So I can't tell you if it makes an effective pre-workout or not. What I can tell you is the World Anti-Doping Agency ain't waiting for no research. They have already banned it, and I get that. The writing on the wall says if you do take this, it would potentially make you a better athlete and give you an advantage over someone who's not. So if you are a drug-tested athlete, you absolutely want to have your supplements tested by a third company, like maybe NSF, to make sure this stuff is not in it. WADA has already sanctioned some athletes because they found higenamine in their system during random drug tests. So something to think about. But again, I'm all about the research. I want to see more human studies, but World Anti-Doping Agency, they ain't waiting for it. They've already banned it. As for weight loss, be honest with you guys, I'm not so sure it helps weight loss or not. Theoretically, it might boost metabolism by increasing your heart rate. I get that because your heart is pumping faster, pumping more blood, and this might increase metabolic rate. But again, I don't see any specific research where they take people into the lab, give them Higenamine, and let's see how many people lose weight. So this study that I mentioned a minute ago about how the combination of Higenamine, caffeine, yohimbe increase fatty acids in the blood, sometimes that study is also cited for proof that it helps weight loss, but I do like to point out that study wasn't an exercise study and it absolutely wasn't a weight loss study either. So it's not proof it causes weight loss. I cannot yet find any weight loss studies involving Higenamine. Again, this video is part of a massive review that's on my Supplement Clarity website, and I'll definitely update that as I become aware of more research. And I'm sure those studies are in the pipeline, but as I speak to you these words right now, there are no weight loss Higenamine studies. As for erectile dysfunction, well, it's interesting that when you take some tissue out of the penis of a rat called the corpus cavernosum, and you drip some Higenamine on it essentially, or bathe it in a petri dish, you do notice that those muscles relax. Now, the corpus cavernosum is some cells in the penis that do take part in erections, and so the thought is that, hey, if it helps the rats wake up down south of the border, then it might help men the same way. And the research doesn't really show it though yet, because there is no ED Higenamine research. So for any guy looking at this as a possible help for ED, I would say, go talk to your doctor. Let's find out what the cause of that ED is. I do like to throw out to people that sometimes ED is a sign of heart disease. Not to say it always is, but it could be. So let's take this as an opportunity to open up a conversation with your doctor. And that doesn't mean get a Viagra prescription. Let's find out what the real cause is. And I think that'll help you better than taking any drug or supplement. As for spinal cord injuries, I did uncover a very intriguing research study where, again, it involved mice, but they took the mice and they gave them, unfortunately, some spinal cord injuries, and they gave them Higenamine, and they noted that the spinal cords of the mice seemed to repair better than those mice who didn't get Higenamine. So this opens up the possibility that perhaps maybe Higenamine might be of use to people with spinal cord injuries. And I would say at this point, hold your horses, because I can't locate any human studies involving people with spinal cord injuries who were given Higenamine. And I think that's really something to bring out, because people with spinal cord injuries may have a variety of other issues they're dealing with. And again, because Higenamine might be a stimulant ingredient, or rather is a stimulant ingredient, I wouldn't be giving it to people with spinal cord injuries. So I'd say hold off. Let's see what future research shows. Go talk to your doctors, see what they think about it. But right now, I would say it's not ready for prime time. As for diabetes, again, I think this is another area where I don't think Higenamine is ready for general use by diabetics, because I can't find any diabetic research on this. I do see a study out there where they basically drip some Higenamine in some rat cells, and the rat cells actually have an enhanced uptake of glucose. Theoretically, that would lower blood sugar levels. But again, we're not rat cells. We're human beings. We're much more complicated than that. And so I would prefer to wait until I see some diabetic research before I would start, running out to the local health food store and grabbing Higenamine supplements. Again, there's a simpler answer right now than just taking a supplement. And again, it's go take a walk. Even a 10-minute walk has been shown to lower blood sugar levels. So again, I don't think it's ready for prime time when it comes to diabetes just yet. What about arthritis? So Higenamine does more things than what we think usually we talk about. Like it seems to reduce inflammation. And again, this is highly preliminary research at this point, but in studies that involve isolated cells, when you give them Higenamine, you see a reduction in various inflammatory markers. And so some may say, well, this might help arthritis. It may help, perhaps back to diabetes. It may help other conditions where inflammation is a problem. And so if we just look at arthritis right now, I would say there's no arthritis human studies out there that involve giving people Higenamine. So right off the bat, I'd say, I don't think it's appropriate at this point in time. And as for reducing inflammation across the board, again, let's give it to people and let's test those inflammatory markers and see what happens. Those studies, again, are probably going to be published eventually, but as of right now, it's anybody's guess if Higenamine reduces inflammation in human beings. So how much Higenamine works, and that's a big question, and I don't know. And I don't know because of the utter lack of human research at this point. And so I don't think anybody's in a position to tell you how much works or doesn't work, or just too much, for instance. So no optimal dosage is known. That eventually is going to be better pinned down as more human studies start to become published. But anybody who says this is a good amount or that's a good amount, they're taking a guess because they're seeing the same research I am, and I don't see a lot of human research at this point. So this study came out a little while ago. It made headlines, and it was an investigation that looked at 24 different Higenamine-containing dietary supplements in both weight loss and the sports categories, like pre-workouts and stuff like that. These researchers wanted to test their Higenamine content, essentially. And they noted that of those 24 dietary supplements, only 5 of the supplements actually listed the amount of Higenamine in them. Okay, that's interesting. But none of those 5 that listed it, the actual amount they contained was different than their label contained. It was either more Higenamine or it was less Higenamine. So that right off the bat says there's some quality control problems going on when it comes to this supplement. And that kind of concerns me. But why only 4, or excuse me, why only 5 did they list the Higenamine content? And that's mostly because in the majority of these products, Higenamine was listed as a ingredient of a proprietary blend. Many times dietary supplements won't tell you the actual amounts because they're afraid people are going to go home and try and reverse engineer it. So they only give you the ingredients in a proprietary blend, and that's my guess on that. But what I thought was interesting though is that again, sometimes they found as much as 200% of the amount of Higenamine in some of these dietary supplements, again, which goes back to quality control. So regardless of what we're talking about, only deal with companies that you've heard of, have been around a long time. I'm a big fan of actually Googling their address and finding out where they do business and stuff like that. The more you know about the supplement company, the more faith you're going to have in the supplements they produce. As for side effects, guys, I'm quite not sure what side effects might be. Again, a lot of times the research looks at young, healthy people, so I wonder what would happen with older, unhealthy people. And I don't know just that, what would happen. But I can tell you that there does appear to be some evidence that Higenamine will interfere with drug metabolism enzymes. And if this is true, it may result in the drug breaking down too quickly or too slowly. Either which of these possibilities would be a problem for individuals. So I'm throwing up just a few of the categories of medications that could be influenced by this occurrence. And we're talking blood thinner drugs, cancer drugs, antihistamines, dementia medications, antidepressants, etc. So if you take any medicine at all, over-the-counter or prescription drugs, and you're thinking about taking a product that contains Higenamine, go talk to your doctor or pharmacist and see what they think about that. I think and again, pharmacists I like particularly because you can walk into any store and talk to a pharmacist. You don't even need to make an appointment. And they're usually pretty good about supplement drug interactions. So guys, that's all I got for you right now. I'm going to put the entire review in the description where you can see the entire review of Higenamine I wrote that has all the links and references that I use for this. If you have any other questions, guys, feel free to drop me a comment or email here and I'll be glad to help you myself. And that's all I got for you. I'm Joe Cannon. Have yourself a fantastic day.